All right, everybody, we are back with some top 8 action now of Duels of Runeterra 10. I know it's a little backwards. We did the top 4 first. I don't know what you want. All right, we have some tournament gameplay footage for this weekend, so it is what it is. We got Ian. Wow, I don't know why I always want to pronounce because it's like one word. I always want to pronounce it in one word, but Iannogueira, but he's playing MaggoGX, and this was a pretty awesome game, not gonna lie. As the rest of this games, I was actually casting with Boulevard, so again, all his information will be in the description below, as well as Ian's Twitch page will be in the description below as well. So without further ado, let's get into some top 8 gameplay from Duels of Runeterra 10.
Unfortunately, the Hecarims that we know of have been knocked out at top 16.
That stinks. Yeah, so actually, yeah, so Shika lost. God. It was so close. It was so close. They had a shot. They did make it into the top 16, and I think that's what counts most. So let's turn it on over into Ian gameplay. Let's go. And I don't think, Maggo is not streaming. We have confirmed, so I cannot get the second hand, unfortunately.
Yeah, so something that I noticed when kind of going through the cards about Hecarim, and I'm curious to see if this impacts the meta in any way, shape, or form, but Hecarim is now searchable by Babbling Beard.
Wait, ooh, that's a good catch. Yeah, that definitely matters. That is for sure.
And we've seen like Ash Harrowing decks come out in the past, so maybe we just slide a little Hecarim into something like that, bring back an old favorite of mine, and see how that works out for everybody for a little bit.
All set. So it looks like he's actually chilling on the Lux home screen here in Runeterra. So we're gonna give it another couple minutes until we get started here.
I got a question for you. Which home screen is your favorite?
Ooh, I was not expecting. I am ill prepared to answer this question. I gotta say, I do like Thresh's. Ooh. Wistorm in chat. I was just gonna say let's get some answers in chat too. Wistorm says Misfortune. I might have to agree with Misfortune. I think it's like a better version of Lux's, right?
I really like how slice of life this Lux one feels actually.
Slice of life. I like the description. Yeah, I mean she's just peering off ominously into the world. All of her troubles are gone. Hopefully, she just got hope and spirit. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with Misfortune. I think that's the one.
That's fair. I'm actually just like looking at all of them on Google now. A lot of them are like the same poses, but I actually do like Darius's as well. Thresh's is like kind of cool, but he's like standing over a wasteland of nothingness. But like Darius is out there, axe in the air, like leading his armies. Personally, like I love all of them. I think they were all phenomenally done, but I think Darius.
Yeah, and I you know what's unfortunate? I don't think there's no Zed one, is there?
No, it's Yasuo instead.
I really wish they had a Zed one, because like Zed in all the clips and the trailers that you see online of just like the cool cutscenes and stuff, Zed just seems so cool, and I feel like they've done so little with him so far in regards to that and the animation and all that. So I would like to see a screen for Zed, give Zed a little bit more love than he's currently got. I will say, all right, so Ian, I actually just switched back to us, but Ian has, I don't know if it's a sub alert or a follower alert, but it says it's a picture of Keanu Reeves going like this, saying thank you. Kind of like it, not gonna lie. Never gonna hate on anything Keanu Reeves, right?
I gotta, I don't want to like call him out or anything, but I do hate trying to spectate Nola Gold, because I don't know if it's follower or subs, but like he has like an explosion of emotes over his screen that like just disrupts the game, and like I know it doesn't affect him at all, but when I'm trying to spectate, I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's like, and Nola just drew his Thresh, and he is about to get a follower. We're gonna have to wait a couple seconds until we see this next play. Yeah, his is pretty extra, not gonna lie. I you know what? I don't mind that though. That's I don't mind that. What?
Yeah, it definitely adds personality. It's just like annoying from a spell. Like when I'm trying to like cast and then I get thrown off by just like this explosion of emotes. I'm like, what was I saying?
Well, the biggest one for me was being the camera in the top right. Why are you gonna be different, man? Why are you gonna be different? Why are you gonna be? Look at Ian, just looking at Ian's screen, waiting for him to get started, and bottom right. Like, come on. And I will say Ian is he's also using, which I didn't realize until just now, the outline. So if you guys don't know, you can actually go to, for all you streamers out there that are watching, just watching the tournament, not streaming today, if you go on Legends of Runeterra website, there's all the way down bottom. It's not in the main menu up top, but if you go all the way down to the bottom, there is a media option. If you click on media, there are lots of tools for casters, streamers, everybody that you can use and pick up. And Ian I'm actually going to go back over. Hold on. Gameplay. So if you look on Ian's screen, he actually has this overlay in the bottom right here that's kind of outlining his picture. And he's got the 2 regions in there too. It's pretty cool.
That's also where you get the really cool 3-card transition that pretty much all of us use at this point.
Yeah. Watch. I'm going to do it again. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to do it again. Yeah. Why? Because we can, guys. Because we can. Honestly, I was pretty excited when we got that stinger. It's the little things in life, right? It's the little things.
Now, if only we could customize the card backs on them.
Ooh, custom card back stingers. Riot, I really hope you've been watching this stream because we've had a lot of solid ideas today for just like things to implement in the game, right?
Oh, speaking of, what's your favorite card back that they released so far?
Looks like he's about to get started, so I'm gonna swing it back over. So, favorite card back. Oh, there's a Rainbow Poro one that just came out, right?
Is there? I didn't know if they put out a card back with it. I just picked up my free Poro and emote.
I picked up the Poro and the emote. I don't remember if there was a I don't remember if there's a card back or not. I'm not one to really get into like skins and stuff that much, so I couldn't really tell you. Like even with League of Legends, the only skins I have for characters are like the ones that I got for free, so
I'm the opposite. I am always scared to check how much money I've spent on League of Legends over the last 10 years. Yeah, I know it is in the thousands.
Yeah, just look. Oh, that hurt me, dude. That hurt me just hearing that. That's not cool. Oh, all right. So we are officially starting the top 8. Pretty psyched about it. We got Iannogueira versus MaggoGX up in here, and we are starting with. I think this is Endure Spiders versus. This is just like Ash Noxus, right?
God, I thought we were getting Maggo earlier, so I had their decks pulled up, and then I closed out of all of them. I think it was something a little atypical, or maybe it was just the last deck that was atypical.
Yeah, I'm actually.
All right, we've got Karma Lux. Yeah, it's just normal. It's normal Ash Sejuani.
Okay, and Ian's lineup is we get these Freljord Endure Spiders here, running Callista and Elise. We have a Mono Demacia Fiora Garen, 3 Unyielding Spirit, 2 Detain, which we did actually see earlier as well. And he has the one, the only Heimer Vi. Alright guys, before we keep going with game number 1, as always, do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. Always got lots of tournament gameplay footage here, as well as a lot of deck guides and other Legends of Runeterra things. Also like the video, obviously, if you do enjoy the video. And last but not least, if you do like this t-shirt I'm wearing, wrong side, you can actually get this using a link below in the description. I've been buying a lot more gaming t-shirts lately, and I don't know. I mean, I like it. If you like it too, click the link below. Appreciate all the support, and without further ado, let's get back into the video.
All right, so who do you feel like is favored in this matchup?
You know, I have not seen this matchup often today, out of all things.
We really haven't seen a lot of Endure Spiders or just go wide decks in general.
Yeah, I want to say, like, I think that if Endure Spiders kind of have a window to win really early, being aggressive, or they can wait for the Atrocity late game. And I think that all the in-between, like, if you're doing, like, a 0 to 100%, the first 20% and the last 20%, I think, are, like, they who endure. But the middle 80%, if that makes sense, or the middle, 60%, would be the Ash Noxus deck. Because I think late game, having that power of the Atrocity in the deck, I don't really think there's a whole lot that the Ash Noxus deck. I actually got to pull up her list.
So they are running 3 Calling Strikes, so anytime Endure comes down, you can just play a Frostbite effect onto it and get the Calling Strike off, and that is actually the safest way in the game to remove an Endure because it takes Atrocity off the table. And I think Iannogueira recognizes this, and that's why we do see the one Commander Ledros in the deck that he has already picked up in his hand and will play, I believe, a very pivotal role in him picking up a W here in the top 8.
Yeah, and I will say I'm going to go ahead and agree with you there. And I think he is going to, be a little aggressive here in the beginning too. He's got the Callista on the field. Like you said, he's already going pretty wide. But Maggo already having the Hearthguard and the Babbling Beard. I mean, those are tough bodies to deal with from the side of the They Who Endure Spiders, especially the Aversion Hearthguard. Like, there's really not anything that Ian's going to be able to do about that card right now.
Yeah, I think I actually would have liked to see the Neverglade Collector here. It does dissuade the attacks from Maggo a little bit more. As well as you just have a lot of Spiderlings that you want to trade onto it, and I do not think Endure is your path to victory in this specific matchup. The Frostbite effect's probably just a little bit too prevalent. I think just as long as you can stall out to this Endure, you're going to be fine. It looks like the wide board even just enough for Maggo to not want to attack.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that too. It seems a little weird the Neverglade didn't come out. I think it looks like he's just prioritizing leveling this Callista more than anything, but I think the Neverglade would have been a great play. It's always good to get the Neverglade out pretty early.
Yeah, and okay, yeah, still going to be no attack out of Maggo. So, yeah, Iannogueira solidly in control of this early game. This Callista going to be able to attack every single time. And yeah, actually a pretty seamless upgrade from Iannogueira for this Callista, trying to figure out what attacks actually need to come out, what can be favorable. It looks like he's going to throw away these Spiderlings, and I don't know how much I like this. I think the Callista attack is fine. It does push through damage, or your opponent has to take an unfavorable trade, as something has to block the Callista or the unit coming out, but I actually don't know what's coming out. I think it's a Mist Wraith. And it's actually going to buff up the other Mist Wraith, so that's a pretty good unit to have in your death pool for the Callista consistently.
Yeah, especially if you're getting multiple procs on this Callista here. It's going to get really strong really fast, and Ian, again, is taking this super aggressive early route. I'm surprised to not see any Frostbite come out yet. I guess he's not super scared as it currently stands. That's one thing about the Callista, which is why I feel like she's not amazing, is that you can just block her and then kill the other unit 9 times out of 10. So it just feels really, really like just not as good of a card, because you're like, oh, she lives, but wait, that whole thing that she summoned is dead too, so it didn't really even do anything.
Yeah, unless she's kind of built around, like we saw in the Triana Crown Guard, where like she's having an impactful summon, like this Wraithcaller would actually be a pretty impactful summon, then it almost just feels like she has quick attack, but you also can't attack with one more unit.
Yeah, and I think he is going to go ahead and play the Neverglade now, which I do think is a good call, especially being that, I mean, there's no reason to play the Wraithcaller unless you are going into probably an attack turn. So
yeah. So the one concern to watch out for, it does feel like Iannogueira has been pretty heavily favored so far, being able to stall it out, Maggo passing a couple of attack turns, but Reckoning would absolutely destroy this board of Iannogueira, so it's possible that Maggo is just trying to build up as much damage as possible, and then just is going to be able to OTK with a Reckoning.
Yeah, actually, and there's really no way for him to prevent a Reckoning. Other than, if he manages to get a bunch of really high power Mist Wraiths on the board. Like right now, the Mist Wraiths will be above the Reckoning if he summons another one. But that's really... Alright, Reckoning will also summon the Abomination from the Cursed Keeper, which is nice. But yeah, I think you're right here. And how many copies... There's actually 2 Reckoning in Maggo's deck here. So this is going to be probably what we end up seeing in a couple turns. I think Maggo is also recognizing what you were stating earlier about the Frostbite, which is she can just slow play the hell out of this, right? I mean, she could just chill as long as she's not taking damage, wait for, Ian to make the first move, and when he does, throw it on that Frostbite.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be Culling Strike onto this Neverglade Collector, so you're going to get to line that up as a free blocker onto one of the 5/5s, so I'm a little surprised to see this come out pre-combat, just not wanting to give Iannogueira an opportunity to develop something else, though I'm not sure what you were actually afraid of for 5 mana with no board space left. But yeah, it's going to come out here. We're going to see some blocks lined up, and I do think that this is pretty good for Iannogueira, as it does imply that there isn't going to be a Reckoning coming out from Maggo. And I think we're going to see the Endure come down on the following turn, because there aren't any Flash Freeze. That Freeze isn't going to be an option without Ash on board. And if you commit a Harsh Winds to it, that's just one more turn stalled out by a heavy mana investment. And we're getting closer and closer to this Ladross turn.
Wow, so he's actually opting to glimpse the Cursed Keeper here. I think he's kind of recognizing that with his board going bye-bye this turn for the most part, he needs to trigger that Cursed Keeper because he doesn't really have much else in his hand that's going to activate it. To Callista, I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, it's not terrible, but it doesn't seem really like it's gonna do much.
I feel like it just got a lot worse since the not cursed key, the 4-mana 3/3.
The 4-mana 3/3.
That revives Chronicler of Ruin.
Chronicler of Ruin. Yep. I don't know why that one is hard.
The strongest unit that has died. Callista not going to be able to tick up the mist rates any longer.
Yep.
Just a little bit unfortunate, but we do see this They Who Endure is actually sitting at a 16/16, and Maggo's going to have to commit at least an Iceveil Archer and a Calling Strike onto it, and we did already see one of those come out to take care of the Neverglade Collectors, so Iannogueira might feel a little more comfortable going for Endure this turn.
Yeah, I will say it was, you had mentioned it was a little weird to have the Calling Strike played during the attack, but I think it was just weird that it came out so early anyways. I mean, I don't think Maggo's too threatened by what's happening. Now, obviously, the They Who Endure is threatening, so now Ian forces Maggo to be on some sort of Frostbite. And if Maggo is not on a Frostbite plus Calling Strike right this second, she's going to start having to expend resources just to keep the They Who Endure at bay until she does draw into a Culling Strike or a Reckoning.
Yeah, there's the Chronicler coming out, and I'm actually a little curious to see if this Black Spear is also going to come. If we do see an Ash as the follow-up, Black Spear won't do anything because 2 Hearthguards have come out, but so take that one off the table. Yeah, Black Spear, it's kind of weird because it feels like three damage removal doesn't actually line up onto Ash that often because we see so many Omen Hawks and Hearthguards coming out of these decks.
Yeah, Black Spear, seems good, but then the second you're going up against an Averrosion Hearthguard deck, it kind of just doesn't do anything because now everything, even stuff that had 2 health originally, is going to be outside of Black Spear now.
Yeah, I feel like we consistently see this adaptation where Freljord tends to take over metas where damage-based removal is king, and we consistently, Freljord gets pushed out by other things, and then we find ourselves just going back into damage-based removal metas, and the Hearthguards and the Elixir of Iron is just some of the most effective ways. And that's actually a non-buffed Ash, so that's not what was picked up by the Bjerg.
Wow.
And that does mean that Black Spear is just going to take it out.
Wow, that's crazy. So, I mean, she probably had that in hand for a decent amount of time then. I wasn't looking. I don't know if it came from the right or not. Maybe it was in her starting hand.
Probably. I mean, yeah, with 2 Hearthguards already coming down this game, it had to have come out before they did. And there's another Bjerg, but this is the Commander Ledros turn.
Wow, so if we know one of those cards is, Ash or something, right? If those 3 cards are not Frostbite, I'm trying to think of what else besides a Frostbite and Calling Strike or Frostbite and Reckoning can do anything against that, and that's it. I mean, that's the strategy. And if Maggo does not currently have access to a Harsh Winds or a Brittle Steel, the Brittle Steel will not work. So just the Harsh Winds. This is going to be rough. Or Iceveil Archer.
Now Brittle Steel will work if you attack this 7/3 Glory Seeker into the...
Yes. Yep. And that's, I think, what is happening.
Yeah, and no Atrocity out of Iannogueira does mean that this is actually pretty likely to die if he goes for an attack with it. But, you still have to go for an attack with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you can't not attack. I will say, considering everything, he still has a very strong field. Right now, Maggo has to focus her efforts on this They Who Endure. He's still going to get a decent amount of trades here. He's at 20 health, so he doesn't really care about taking too much damage either. That Mist Ray is probably going to go with the 5/5. Yep, doesn't care about the Sentry. Probably doesn't care about the Bjerg. And yeah, that's honestly not a bad combat for Ian there.
Yeah, I actually think I would have liked to see the blocks lined up. Also, the Wraithcaller onto the Avarose and Sentry and the Callista onto the Babbling Bjerg, as that does leave you with 3 units and clear out Maggo's board, giving you lethal off an Omen attack, even if Brittle Steel and Harsh Winds come down, I believe, as you will summon that Callista unit.
And this is when I wish we had ad block. Sorry, guys. It froze for a second, so I'm trying to reload it here. And now we get to watch random little kids tap dance, so...
I will let you know if the game ends while you're getting back into it.
Yeah, no, I really hope not. You have now made your case officially for ad block. I'm just going to throw that out there. The case has now been made, and it will be happening. And we're back. Oh, the Atrocity is topped right in time. Okay. Well, maybe not. If he has a Brittle Steel, it won't matter. So we didn't miss much. It came back to Ian. He is now deciding to, it looks like, open attack. He did not play the Ledros. And if there's a Brittle Steel, we're going to have some issues. I think that challenge on the previous turn just screams Brittle Steel, right? There's no way that Maggo is not having the Brittle Steel here.
Yeah, but you have to have Brittle Steel and Harsh Winds, or this Escaped Abomination is just going to kill you. And even then, you actually, yeah, you need to have so many freeze effects, actually, because of the Atrocity top deck. You can just throw the Wraith Caller at Maggo's face. Yeah, that's just going to be a surrender.
Wow, that's crazy. So I really... So we were talking earlier about what's favored in that matchup, and I really just want to think that I'm gonna. Oh, I forgot to change it again, but it says 1-0, so we're good. I really want to think that the Freljord deck has the advantage in that matchup, but she just didn't get quite enough draw to actually get those Frostbite effects.
So one thing that I've struggled with as a caster is like I'll say something is favored, and then it'll go the opposite way, and I have to remember that like favored doesn't mean it's a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
It means that on average, you're going to pick up the tools to line up with the tools that your opponent has, and that just didn't happen here. It's not like, it's a 90-10 matchup. If you can't get the Frostbite effect and a Calling Strike down onto something like the They Who Endure, then you can just lose to the attacks like that. And Maggo just with an unfortunate hand not finding the answers that they needed early enough.
So, again, if you guys are just joining, it is 1-0 Iannogueira right now. Don't mind my laziness and not updating it originally. So for those of you who have been on the stream, it has not already been 1-0. It just turned to 1-0, and this is game 2.
All right, and speaking of favored, this should actually be another favored matchup for Maggo. This is sort of why we saw this deck make a resurgence into the meta, was because of how strong it was into the Bannerman decks.
I'm gonna reduce the quality of his stream. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Oh, we're going further down, guys. We're going 480p. Good old trusty 480p. Let's see it. Wow, seriously? That is some serious lag.
Oh, let me pull up.
There we go.
Okay, you got it.
There we go. All right, I think reducing the quality there helped out. So apologies, everybody in chat. We are back.
But yeah, as I was saying, this definitely feels like another favored matchup for Maggo. And, if you are going to lose 2 favored matchups in a row, that you're definitely not going to go home feeling good about that one. But, it does happen.
So off to a pretty good start on the side of Ian here. Pretty good curve out with the Bannerman. Feels bad that he drew the 1-drop a little bit late there. So no perfect curve. The dream did not happen. But a 3-4 War Chefs and a 4-4 Fiora still feels pretty good. And he does have the Unyielding Spirit, which is exactly what he just moused over there, which he should be able to play maybe 2 turns from now, depending on if he banks this spell mana.
I'm actually a little worried to see him hover that onto the Fiora. I think that putting it onto the Garen is a lot more impactful in this matchup. It can be hard for the Fiora to get kills, especially if this Bannerman if we don't see another Bannerman come out, because this Frostbite deck is just so full of 5/5 units and things that kind of trigger this Trifarian Assessor. The health usually matches the power, and we're not going to see Fiora be able to take out any of these units unassisted. As well as, it is a Frostbite deck. On the offensive, Fiora is pretty bad because it'll likely be one of your bigger units. Ash will continuously Frostbite it out. And I do think that Garen is a much more impactful unit to get the Unyielding Spirit down onto, because he will generate value even if he is at 0 attack.
Yeah, gonna have to agree with you there. In this matchup, Fiora is not gonna be finding too many kills. I mean, just as we say that, she gets a kill. So, but I do have to agree with you, especially because this is not a deck playing Repost or anything like that. And wow, that hurts.
Yeah, with 2 large units on the side of Maggo, that does mean that this Reckoning is unstoppable, and that's going to clear out the board, which means I'm not sure how I feel about this single combat. It does mean, well, I guess you weren't playing Garen this turn anyway, unless you were fine with taking 10 damage. So, but I feel like you could have just played Fleet Feather Tracker after the fact and blocked the Trifarian Glory Seeker. You didn't necessarily have to commit the single combat to that.
Yeah, and I feel like single combat is always going to gain more value as you get later into the game. Its value just increases, and yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that single combat this early as well, especially on something like a Glory Seeker. There's so many ways he could have killed that, and I honestly feel, you mentioned Garen.
Yeah,
even getting the Garen down might have been a better deal there, because he does have Cythria in hand as well. He could have gone 5-6 Garen Cythria to really put some pressure on.
Yeah, I think the concern was that because there was a Glory Seeker on the other side of the board, you would have to wait until after the attacks to play Garen, and you would have taken 10 damage falling down to 7. But I do, yeah, I just feel like it seems a little weird on paper, right? Single combat is something that is reliant on your unit having attack. This is a Frostbite deck, but because there aren't any flash freeze and there's only 2 harsh winds, if you want to save the single combat for something like Garen or the Cytherea the Bold, you actually have a lot of opportunities. As long as your opponent is under 6 mana and doesn't have an Ash on board, you're going to be able to get single combat value. Oh, and the Culling Strike Frostbite effect. Yeah, Maggo not lining this one up last game onto the Endure. Does find it this time around, though, onto the Garen. Looks like Iannogueira might pass instead of challenging out the Frostveil Archer, which I think is fine. If you do think that Maggo has a Brittle Steel, I'd rather see you get Brittle Steeled defensively than offensively. And Unyielding Spirit, Cytherea the Bold, not a terrible target for it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, you'd still rather have it on a Garen, like you were mentioning earlier, I think. But at this point in the game, you know, they're very even as far as board state and advantage is concerned. That Aversion Hearthguard is definitely a good play by Maggo. But if Ian is able to get an Unyielding Spirit on this Cytherea, it's going to start doing work getting rid of these 5/5s here. And that's definitely a big deal. The Frostbite still could come down from Maggo.
Yeah, I'm a little curious to see if Iannogueira does block. Unyielding Spirit doesn't heal the unit to full, so if you do block a 5/5 with this Cytherea, then she is vulnerable to Brittle Steel from here on out. But it makes sense that Maggo not going to attack. Just opening it up to the Brittle Steel option doesn't really seem worth a unit since you do only run 2 copies of the card.
Wow, this is very tough. I mean, if he plays the Bannerman, he now cannot play the Unyielding. I think you actually have to go Fleet Feather into Unyielding just because you have 2 in hand. Like, you have to get Unyielding off on Cytherea at this point because of the way your hand looks.
Yeah, it's this weird concept where, like, for example, if you have Deny in hand, you don't want to just throw away your Deny on the first spell that you can counter. But if you have 3 Deny in hand, you kind of do, because if you wait around for the perfect opportunity, you're not actually going to get value on it. You're just going to die with 3 Deny in hand, and Unyielding Spirit kind of the same. This isn't the best value. I'd like to see it actually come down already just to prevent the damage onto the Cytherea. I don't think it makes much of a difference at 4 health. You are still out of Brittle Steel range, but I don't think you're doing anything else this turn.
Yeah, and I think he's just playing that, okay, maybe Maggo will try to remove it somehow with something. Maybe he tries to Frostbite it and then kill it. I don't know. Ooh, okay, so actually, this might be the smart play. I actually really like that. He waited for Maggo to spend more mana so he could also get the Bannerman on the Cytherea and then still be able to play the Unyielding on the following turn. So I do actually like that play.
All right, and it looks like the Fiora picked up. You do still have 2 Unyielding Spirits, so I actually would like to see Unyielding onto the Cytherea this turn, followed by Fiora into Unyielding on the following turn.
Oh, yeah.
You can play the Fiora now if you're not worried about Culling Strike.
I think you hold the Fiora just in case. I mean, I think you have to be worried about Culling Strike. We did already see 1 come out, and Maggo is playing 3. So, I mean, I feel like there's a decent chance she has it. He does look like he wants to go ahead and just play it, so we'll see if that gets punished or not. But it's going to be a rude awakening for Maggo.
1 mana shy of Reckoning.
Yeah. Oh, God, that Reckoning just wrecks this board. Oh, my God. Yeah, and you're not coming back from Reckoning. You're really not. I mean, yeah, sure, you get an Unyielding Spirit on Cytherea, but, like, now you have nothing else. So,
yeah. Iannogueira actually just has really, really poor blocks this turn, but only at 12 light is going to have to throw out more than a couple of them.
Yeah, and it feels bad because of the Frostbite and Vulnerable from Sejuani. Yeah, sure, he gets to keep his Cytherea thanks to the Unyielding, but he's not getting any immediate value, which you usually like to get on the Unyielding with some sort of trade or avoiding the Cytherea from dying.
Yeah, and I'm actually not okay, so I was not sure why this Bannerman was lined up onto Sejuani instead of the Hearthguard, but he does just want to push damage onto it, and it looks like he is going to block with the Fiora, which means he's only going to get to save the 1 unit, and I think I would have preferred just not blocking this Iceveil Archer, letting the Fiora hang back a turn and throwing my Unyielding onto my Cytherea, because I can always Unyielding the Fiora on the following turn, but looks like he might be afraid of a Culling Strike, so does just want to get this down here, but Fiora really doesn't line up super well into this board.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused why he decided to do that. Maybe he thinks that his only win condition at this point is now, because everything's so low. I mean, this is really... I mean, there's a lot of 2s and 1s and 3s over there. So like that is, oh wow, okay, well that's definitely a good top deck, but there is a chance that he now does get the win condition with Fiora. So like you said, maybe he's worried about a culling strike. But there's so many frostbite cards too. There's still a huge opportunity for Mago to be able to deny one of these Fiora kills over the next couple of turns.
Yeah, and even if Iannogueira kills a unit here, as long as Maggo just plays another unit, I'm pretty sure they just have lethal on the following turn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, well, you are correct. There are a lot of things on the board that Fiora can kill. I definitely don't think Iannogueira has the time to actually get it done.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think he's actually going to be able to live. So I am. Well, okay. Well, let's go the other route, right? If he held the Fiora back, he would have taken more damage, and if he played the Unyielding on Cythria last turn, would it have actually mattered? It would have, the same result probably would have happened where he would have been dead on board.
I think so.
Maybe.
It's possible. He would have one more unit, which is where I'm trying to like figure this one out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, we can't do math, so God only knows that we messed that one up too.
Trying to figure out the theoretical board state and how much damage we put through and things like that. But yeah, I do just think Maggo's got this one, which
Yep.
even just consistently removing their own units to play down more Hearthguards. Yeah, I do not think there's anything that Iannogueira could top deck. Bannerman definitely not going to get it done. The open attack going to come out, and that is going to be lethal. Would have taken like with 2 single combats, maybe Iannogueira could have won the game here, but we did see one fired off a little bit earlier. And yeah, Maggo gonna pick up a well-deserved win with this Frostbite Sejuani deck.
Yeah, and this is, I was going to say, well, what's the out for him, right? And I feel like this is an argument for, why you consider Judgment in these sort of decks. Like, I do feel Judgment's a very strong card. It just doesn't get played. I know it's pretty high costed. Obviously, you have
You already have
Judgment.
3 Unyielding Spirit in though, right? Like, you're fine running 8 mana cards. You've shown us that already. And I feel like, yeah, consistently when I'm casting and I see these Bannerman decks kind of going down, I'm like, all right, what are the outs? And my answer 9 times out of 10 is, okay, Garen into Garen so that you get access to Judgment.
Yeah, that is a common out scenario. And I mean, again, we were talking earlier about playing one Ruination or just one ofs for the sake of, having your opponent worry about it because you do see each other's deck list. And Judgment's another big scare card as well.
All right, I'm curious to see what got banned out here because of I think that Maggo's remaining decks, Karma, Lux, and Karina Veraza Control, do just play very well into this Demacia, and we are going to see the Karina. So, unfortunately for Iannogueira, Maggo's lineup for this match, the Frostbite Control and the Karina Control, are 2 decks that sort of popped into the meta specifically to deal with Mono Demacia.
Yeah, definitely some rough luck here with the matchups with the Mono Demacia. So I'm curious to see how Ian's going to attack this. He has the early Rangers Resolve, which could help him out, but I don't really ever see too many blocks or a wide board state. So we'll see how that works for him in the next few turns.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of... So Maggo running a little bit of an atypical Karina deck, as I had mentioned earlier. There aren't any Vi in this list. It is just 2 Hapless Aristocrat, 2 Ledros, 2 Karina, and 3 Elise. So we are going to see them stumble on the early units, which makes a lot of sense. There are not a lot in the deck, and I'm looking to see how many unit-generating spells there are. It is just Brood Awakening. We're not seeing any, like, Jury Rigs or something crazy like that come out.
Yeah, and it's something to say here with... she is only running the Elise, right? And no Vi, which is interesting. And essentially what you're getting in place of Vi is you have 3 Gotcha and 2 Get Excited, which usually now the deck, from what I've seen, it usually cuts Get Excited. I used to play 3 of, and now it's playing the 3 Gotcha instead. So curious. I mean, the deck has gotten Maggo this far, so it must be performing well.
Yeah, something, and there's an interesting adaptation where, like, we have seen players even potentially cutting Karina Veraza entirely from the list, and I think that's, I think we're going to see the lists on this kind of split like we did for Endure Spiders, where I think we're going to see people valuing Vi over Karina, and I do think you kind of have to value one or the other. We're seeing Karina struggle a lot recently because players are just splitting the difference running Karina and Vi, and that puts a lot more units in your deck, and because Vi is clearing out the mid-game boards, Karina actually just becomes a lot less impactful. You're not finding yourself in these situations where you need a board wipe on 9 because Vi has done such a good job of dealing with the board up to this point. Meanwhile, if you play Karina and you flip more units off the top because you are overloaded on them with Vi and Elise and Ledros, you're not getting really any value out of it. But if you cut the Vi from the list entirely, like Maggo has done here, running, I think it tells me how many spells are in the deck. It's a lot. It's 31 spells. So this Karina very consistently going to get 5 damage off, and that's only possible because Vi isn't in here. But in the meantime, Mago getting their ass kicked by the early damage from this Demacia deck.
Yeah, and right here, I think is going to be a critical turn as to why this deck is way less, way more underpowered than it was in the past. This is turn 5, and typically we're seeing a Brood Awakening come down, and we cannot have that now.
Yeah, either Brood Awakening or Vi. It looks like Vile Feast is going to set up for a Withering Wail or a Static Shock on the following turn.
I'm curious to see the Bright Steel come down instead of just War Chefs and then maybe float the 3 spell mana. But he does have all followers in hand. So I imagine at this point he's like, all right, screw it. We're going all in. I will say she's playing 2 copies of Ruination. So this seems a little risky to me. She could just... And honestly, with the way her hand's been playing right now... this is just game right here. That's why he did that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that game?
Yeah, I put it down to lethal, so exactly 11 damage. So yeah, Mago not going to get the opportunity to fire off a Ruination this turn. Does have to play something else to survive. But with the double War Chef down, Withering Wail off the table, and double Withering Wail, the mana not lining up for it, just 1 shy.
Yeah, so something's gonna have to come down here. It could have just 1 Mystic Shot or 1 Get Excited would do the job. So, okay, or you could just play the Withering, heal a little bit.
Is going to still set up for a nice whale on the following turn. Is going to go extremely low, and we are still very far from turn 9.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Mago's too worried though. I mean, he's gonna play another unit. And it's going to continue to go into a turn where Ruination just feels really bad. I mean, yeah, sure, he'll get a Badger Bear, but oof, that is a big hit. Now, do you Ruination here, or I guess you just Withering Wail, right? So
if you have the Withering Wail, yeah, I definitely think you try that. I don't think Static Shock is going to be enough. If you have Ruination, I do think you play it here. I feel like more often than not, when I see Karina decks die to Demacia, it's because they held a Ruination for too long.
Well, let's hope that's not the case, because Mago is deciding to go with the Brood Awakening here at the now new cost of 6, which should stave off... Maybe she has a Static Shock in addition to this Brood Awakening, which would be just enough to live, maybe. Or not if...
War Chefs make it awkward again.
Yeah, no, not if the War Chefs buff each other. And yeah, so no, this would still be lethal if there's no way to completely remove another unit. Wow. Yeah, this is just a lot of pressure coming down from Ian. And, I mean, it is definitely a good call and a good read by him that he needs to kind of go in now. I mean, if he doesn't win this turn or the next, like, that's pretty sure Mago stabilizes by then. And he's not really going to have an easy time coming back, if at all.
Yeah, if he doesn't win this turn and then Karina comes down on the following turn, that might be close to GG. It's a little hard to say because there is like a Bright Steel formation and a Detain out of the Iannogueira, so he will be able to save at least one. Because you can, like, if Garen comes down on this turn after the blocks are all said and done, and Iannogueira plays Garen, and then Mago goes out with the Karina on the following turn, Iannogueira can actually detain his Garen to save it from the Karina, as the unit will die and immediately spit it back out.
I gotta say, not feeling Ian's internet connectivity there, because it literally just split off to a victory screen all game with Ian. His connection is just terrible. So bad. But yeah, it looks like there was no Static Shock. That must have just been a really bad hand on the part of Mago, because she had a lot of outs. She really did, and just nothing came her way.
Yeah, it's very possible that they got loaded up on the 9-drops, the Ruination. You know, it would have been a little bit awkward. Maybe just didn't have the follow-up removal to feel safe about it, which is possible. Not a huge fan of this Karina list, or even Karina in general. It is a little unfortunate that we didn't see a lot of action out of the deck, and we did definitely see the Brood Awakening nerf come in big here, unable to get that out on turn 5. And it's strange to me that the Vi was cut from the list, because that is your ideal turn 5 play now that the Brood Awakening is gone.
Yeah, I mean, Vi, oddly, she's obviously a little bit worse due to having less health, but she oddly kind of makes that curve of having her be a 5-drop into a 6-drop Brood Awakening feel a little bit better. So it is odd that she did decide to cut that. But again, who are we to argue? You know, she made it to the top 8, and it must have done pretty well. We actually I don't know about you, but I didn't personally see too much Karina. Did you see it in the EU either, or?
I think I saw maybe one Karina deck, as I think I had mentioned earlier. I don't remember if I mentioned this in EU or NA, but the last couple of tournaments, Annie Desu has come out with a Shadow Isle Ezreal deck that is a little reminiscent of Karina, but I think that is the more popular Shadow Isle PZ deck that I saw over the course of the weekend. A couple of players kind of picked up on that list.
All right, guys, that is it. There is your top 8 gameplay from Duels of Runeterra 10. Cannot wait until Duels of Runeterra 11 coming down the pipe. It's going to be a good time. So as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.